Everyone, yes, it's me, Gary, back with a brand new series of CUPPA CHAT here on Panto Archive. And I know I say it every week, but I'm very, very excited about this person because I'll explain more in a minute. But it's interesting, special guest. Introduce yourself.
Hello there, my name is Jack Ballard, and I'm really excited to be here today. Thanks for having me, Gary.
Hello, Jack. We must admit we've known each other for a very long time, mustn't we? To start with.
We have indeed. I think when would we have met each other? It must have been about 2012, 2011, something like that.
I'm not that old, so you must be mistaking me with someone else, Jack.
Yeah.
So,
We were
oh, it's
very young.
so
We were very young.
we were very young, very naive. We had no idea really what was going on. But here
No,
we are. We're both now in the theatre world.
we are indeed. Who'd have thought, eh? Who'd have thought?
Well, there we go. And the reason I said about an interesting link, because in the last series and the last episode, we actually had your dad.
Yes, you did indeed. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously meeting each other back in Leicester, it's nice to have these local connections. And yeah, so it obviously runs in the family with the Ballards. So, hopefully, I can do as good a job on here as he did.
Well, I'm sure you will, and we've got lots of things to chat with you about because you've had an already exciting career in theatre, but also in panto as well. Tell us how it all began to start with. Let's start right at the beginning.
Yeah, so to be fair, from the beginning, you would never have thought that I would end up doing what I've ended up doing. One of my first memories of performing was Mount Sorrel Village Hall in Leicestershire, and I got up on stage in like a toddler's dance class and burst into tears, screaming for my gran to come up and help me. So one of the first ever memories of being on stage was crying and then holding my gran's hand as she came up to help me. Um,
Oh,
and then yeah, so I was really lucky, really. I think when I was about in year two, so I would have been about 6 or 7. My best friend at the time, his mum said, "Oh, I've heard this new theatre group on a Saturday. He's going to go. Do you want to go and join him?" So I just said, "Oh yeah, why not?" And then just never looked back. Like I've always just been singing in the shower, or trying to entertain, make people laugh from a young age. And yeah, there's just been no looking back. I could never see myself doing anything else, really.
what was the first initial dream? I always like to ask this question before you became an actor. Well, did you want to be a footballer? Did you want to
Oh,
be? What was
so there's
it?
another famous story. So when you're in reception at school and people say, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?"
Hmm.
The earliest thing I can remember saying was I wanted to be an ice cream man.
Fair enough.
No idea why, but that's what I admitted to. So
I
so
mean,
maybe
that's
that could have
fair.
been.
I mean, I don't live anywhere near anywhere that has these items. But when I was younger, I wanted to be a tram driver. There was no trams around, so
Well,
where
why
did that
not?
come
Why
from?
not? Dream big, dream big.
There we go, Rob. And then, of course, you obviously fell into your line of work now, and within that, you do the panto work as well. And I forgot to ask you, how rude of me not to ask you what your drink is, your cuppa drink today, because I brought a special drink for you.
Oh,
Um,
fab.
because I know you're well, I say I know you're a Leicester fan, but you wear other shirts sometimes, Jack, which worries me a little bit.
I
So,
do sometimes. I do
but I
sometimes.
I brought a Markle Brighton
Oh, I
special
love that.
Champions League cup for you today. What's your go-to drink, Jack?
So my go-to drink is always just a Yorkshire tea, really. But
Okay.
today, actually, I've got a cappuccino with a little bit of honey in it.
Oh, with a
I
very
thought,
nice
why not
mug.
go a bit more luxury for my first cup of chat? So I've gone a bit bougie today.
Yeah, and look at the design. Show us the design again.
It's quite a little fancy cup there.
Yeah, look at that.
I know it's not my best one. I should have used my Leicester City one, but it's in the wash.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest with you. I was looking for the crest one and I couldn't find it. So I think Laura's run off with it or something. But there we go. I brought you Mark
Uh,
O'Brien instead then.
there you go. I'll
Um,
take.
you take that. So tell us a bit more about how the connection started then with Panto, because we will admit you probably watched your dad's episode. He alluded to it a little bit, but tell us from
Yes,
your
yeah.
point of view how it all started.
Yeah, so I just remember from a very young age always going to the theatre. Every Christmas, I'd always go and see my dad, and so Panto just became, ingrained in my life. It was just a routine. It was just the norm. So Christmas without Panto for me is just unthinkable. Like I couldn't imagine Christmas without pantomime. It's just such a big thing, and obviously growing up watching my dad from a young age, and you know. watching a man in a dress and it just being so normal, and that person being your dad. Not many people can say that.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I just think that it became such an important part of my life, and growing up with it, it meant that I felt almost like a responsibility to keep that tradition going. um, Especially because in the world that we live in right now, we don't really have too many traditions anymore in this country, and so pantomime is probably one of the biggest and you know only big, like a big thing that everyone can say that they're a huge part of and is a big part of their life every year. And so I think it's such an important thing that we keep that going. But yeah, I remember just being little and watching my dad and thinking, oh, do you know what? This is such a magical world that we're being transported to. And it's something that all of us are enjoying together, young people, old people, all demographics. Um, and so, yeah, I just felt that I want to do that. I want to be a part of that and bring this to into people's lives. To be honest, I never thought I'd be playing Dame. I never thought that. I always used to think, oh, the comic's really cool, and I'd love to do that. But obviously, it fell into my lap, and it just worked out that way. So yeah, it's been a real privilege, and I think I've done about 7 or 8 seasons in Panto now. But um, I don't see myself stopping anytime soon because I just love it. It's in my DNA. It's really in my DNA.
It literally is in your DNA because you say you've been brought up with it since a young age. You saw your dad doing it. Did you ever go backstage so you saw that side of it from an early age as well?
Yeah, yeah. I remember I'd go meet my dad after the show, and he'd take me around and show me sort of like some of the props or some of the set, and I just found it incredible. And because when you're that age, everything seems so much bigger anyway.
Mhm.
It just felt like I'd been transported. And then I'd go into the dressing room, I'd try on some of the wigs, and I've got like photos of me on my dad's lap. He's like fully dressed in his Dane gear, and I've got like a little wig cap on or something. So it's been like quite a nice full circle moment to sort of follow in his footsteps. And it all sort of happened quite organically, really. I don't think it was ever really expected, or I never foresaw it happening that way. It just
Mhm.
sort of happened. So it's been quite a nice, yeah, full circle moment to take over from him, but also to take over where I used to watch him
Yeah.
for all those years. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's been really special.
it was literally like passing a baton over. It's actually a really sweet story, which, unless you're from the area, you maybe don't know. As you say, you're in the same venue. And now you're adding, I don't want to talk about your dad the whole time. We don't want to make his head too big, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, but now you're making your own influences on the show. You're getting your own respect from those audiences now. You're not just, oh, it's his son now. You're
Yeah,
getting your
yeah,
own way
totally.
with it now, aren't you? Which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
And I mean, the first year I felt a lot of pressure because, as you'll know as well, like being the Dame, it's no easy feat. You've got so much to think about, and for me as well, like I felt like a big chance was taken on me. Really, I got the job because I went to a sort of open audition. I was there for Imagine's auditions, and I think I was in for Dandini or something,
Mhm.
to be in a panto at any venue. And so I read a few sides and stuff, and then they said, "Oh, would you like to read in for the Dame?" And I said, "Oh yeah, great." And then did the audition. A few days later, they rang up and said, "Oh, we'd like to offer you to, do Panto this year." I was like, "Oh, incredible! Maybe I'll be Dandini up in like I don't know, Crew or something."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, we'd like you to be Dame," and I was like, "Oh, wow, okay." And we'd like to be Dame in Leicester. I thought, "Wow, that's crazy." Of all the Pantos they've got as well. Um, so I did feel a lot of pressure, mainly because people knew my dad and he's done a great job for so many years. Also to be back in my hometown where I knew everybody and I knew the venue, and then to make my Dane debut. And so it was like a lot of things that all tied into one. They took a big chance on me, and I'm forever grateful that they did.
Mm.
Because I honestly, it's a huge part of my life now, and I look forward to it every single year, as I'm sure you do as well. Like I just couldn't imagine my year without looking forward to getting the makeup on at Christmas and you know taking the mick out of some dads and creating just a magical atmosphere. And also, what people don't talk about is it's a massive storytelling thing, and you want to create these stories that you know in the world of as social media and tablets and technology, you're giving people and kids this escapism to go and be creative and be imaginative.
Mhm.
um So yeah, it's just a really special thing, Panto, and it'll always hold a dear place in my heart.
Yeah, it's fantastic. As you say, there is, that this is again another little link that we're both in our home venues. As you say, it brings a different sort of worry, I suppose, because there's probably 9 times out of 10 there's always going to be someone who knows
Yeah.
you or knows someone else in your
Yes.
family in that audience. When we're touring or when we're doing things away, you might be like, oh, there's no one here today. And obviously, we're professionals. We don't do it any differently, obviously. But there's always a bit
Exactly.
of added pressure, isn't there, when you're in your home venue?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, and some things like that you feel a huge responsibility because there's probably people or you feel like you owe something to your hometown. You want to give them a good show. So when you do feel like that, you do put added pressure on yourself. But on the other hand, I think it's just sometimes you can go out and it just feels almost like effortless. You think, oh, do you know what? These people know me, I know them. We're all friends in a way. We've all bonded over Panto and being from this area. So I think that's quite a nice, special feeling. And also the other string that you have to your bow, as you'll know, like playing your local venue, is you can add in so many local references that only you and them will understand.
Yeah.
And that little connection is always really good and really nice to have with the audience.
Mhm. How is it coming back to the same cast in places and probably crew each year as well? You've got Jared, haven't you, with you?
Yeah.
Which I've heard you two are absolutely brilliant with each other. But how does that feel from someone who maybe hasn't worked the industry before? Is that it's like putting on an old pair of slippers again, or is it
Yeah,
like,
do you know
oh
what?
God, here we go again?
No, no, it's absolutely lovely because we all have busy lives and busy schedules and stuff all year round. So I think it's really comforting Christmas time to go back to the same venue. I see the same faces at stage door. I see the same members in front of house. The crew's always the same. It just feels like it sounds really cliche, but it does feel like a family. It does feel like I'm going home now for Christmas. I'm going home for Christmas. I'm going to spend it with my family, on stage and off. And yeah, being with Jared's great. We're really good friends, and he's been so supportive of me as well. He'd done a few pantos at the venue before I came to be Dame, and so he put his arm around my shoulder and took me under his wing, and we've never really looked back. We've just grown together, and what I love about us is we're great at collaborating together. So we listen to each other's ideas, and we work really well as a pair. Just
Mm.
because we are really good at listening to each other and being honest as well. Like we'll be like, "Oh, that's funny. Yeah, let's do that." Or also, well, actually, don't think that quite works. And I think that's really important.
Mm.
So I think we've got a really good chemistry on stage and off,
Yeah.
which is so important in pantomime, especially for the comic and the dame.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the reviews every year come back and rave about the show in general, but and that it's
Oh,
fantastic to see. So tell us, because this is I haven't told you this beforehand. We're just going out with this now. This is coming out in the end of October, November. So it will be nearly Panto season. So tell me where you are this year and what you're doing again. If anyone has no idea.
yeah, so this year we're doing Dick Whittington at Leicester. Me and Jared are both back at De Montfort Hall. I don't actually know the dates that it's running, actually. I should have probably checked that before I came on here.
It's in
But
December. That will
it's
do.
in December.
December.
December, yeah, and it finishes early Jan, 3rd of
Yeah.
Jan, I think it is. But yeah, it's going to be really fun. We've got a great cast this year. We've got Richie Anderson from Radio 2. We've got Suzanne Shaw from Hearsay.
Mhm.
She's going to be fantastic. And yeah, we've got Jared back. And also, we've got a really cool beatboxer this year as the cat, an
Mm,
award winning beatboxer. So that's going to be a really cool element to freshen up the story
yeah.
and also add a lot of different material, which will be cool.
And I think you've got, is it Rebecca from
Yes, we've
CBeebies
got
as
Rebecca
well?
as well. Sorry, yeah, I should mention
Yeah.
that because
Yeah,
who,
she
who
she
seems
was
so lovely.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would say she was so nice. I did some work with her for CBeebies house party and she always come across very nice. You're gonna have a great
yeah.
time with
I
Rebecca
think
as
it's going to be a
well.
really nice bunch this year again. Yeah, we've been very lucky with the cast at Leicester. Actually, we've always had just really lovely people, and it's been just fun. Like the only downside of it is it feels like we have such a good time. It goes so quickly,
Yeah.
and you think, oh, I could have done another couple of weeks really.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously, as you know as well, you get to the end of a run, and you think, oh, rest, time
Yeah,
to
thank
rest.
goodness. Thank
Yeah,
goodness. Let's go back to when you first get that Panto script sent to you.
yeah.
Because I think some people, again, if you work in the industry, you think, what a silly thing to say. But if you don't, you obviously have no idea that some people think that you get a script probably a year in advance and you start
Yeah.
rehearsal 6 months beforehand because a lot of local groups do it that way. Obviously, as professionals, it's not necessarily done that way. But what is the first thing that you look for in that script when it's delivered in your inbox or in paper form, however you get it nowadays?
Yeah, so I feel like usually for us with Panto, because there's a lot of tweaks throughout the year, and because you want to keep it as updated as you can with local references or things in the news, relevant pop culture. I think we usually get the script maybe like 2 weeks before we start rehearsal, so it's quite a fast turnaround. Um, and what I'll usually do is the basic thing: go through, highlight everything, figure out the structure of the script, but then also think about right, Dame's wigs on here, thinking hat. Where am I going to get changed?
Hmm.
I don't know if you're the same. Where am I going to get all my changes in? What if I know what costumes I've got that year? What costume's going to work for what scene?
Hmm.
And then I just break through a structure of it and figure out, how I'm going to start learning it. And usually I'll just try and learn it in chunks. So maybe a scene at a time, just keep going over that scene, then move to the next. But it is quite a fast. I don't know if you're the same with yours. It's quite a quick turnaround of getting it to learning it, and then obviously, of course, you try and learn it as best you can, and then you get to the rehearsal room, and then everything changes.
Yeah.
So it is like an ongoing task, but
Yeah.
we'd have it no other way, really, would we? And
No,
it will
no.
change. Then you get the show up and running, and it'll probably change even more. So
Yeah. I like to now have a basic sort of understanding, but don't learn it until we've
yes,
ticked it off in the rehearsal room
yeah,
because I find, as you say, you go, yes, I've learned it. I've had a week of this script. I can learn it. Of course, I can learn it in a week.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then you're like, you get there and no, we're going to change it all. And it's just like, no, I can't cope with this anymore. So
But
it's,
also as well, I think sometimes you can be over prepared, and
yeah.
I've learned in the past that like you say, I've gone in so confident, I've learned everything, and then almost it's more difficult to unlearn what you've learned than it is. You get in such a rhythm that then it's harder for you to change what you've learned.
Mhm.
So that's another thing that I've learned in the past as well.
Do you, when you're looking through that script stuff, do you look for the songs you're going to sing and you're like, oh, yes, I've got this one. Or, oh, no, I've got that one. Or do you look
Yeah,
for whatever the routine's going to be, if it be 12 Days of Christmas? What's that one thing that you always go, I've got to
yeah.
go and look for that one?
I would say I do that definitely. I always look at the songs first and figure out, oh, what have we got this year? What's gonna, like last year, is there any like Sabrina Carpenter or relevant stuff?
Yeah.
And then I would normally look for the like set pieces like the slosh scene or 12 Days, but at De Montfort Hall, I just know we're always gonna have 12 Days of Christmas. That's just part of our makeup.
Yeah.
Um, and then usually what I'll do is I'll sift through the scenes and figure out what like sort of the driving force of each scene is, and then figure out, oh, can I go away and figure out any gags or any jokes that I can add to that.
Hmm.
And also, of course, for Dames, as you'll know, again, um, I'll always look at that opening set and just see, okay, right, what we got here. How can I make this more relevant to me? And every Dame's got their own style, so how can I change this to make it work for me and make and add jokes that I think, oh, this will work, or I can make this maybe slightly funnier, or I can change that, uh, because that is, something you want to own as a performer. It's the first time you get to introduce yourself at Christmas that year, and you want to make it special to you and special to the audience, so you've got that connection from the very start.
Yeah. What is your style of Dame?
So I would say, well, I try to make it very independent to me. But a lot of people do say to me, "Oh, you've got a lot of elements of your dad there," which I think is just probably ingrained in me from
Yeah.
just seeing him for so long. But I'm very mumsy as a Dame. I try and play it as sort of characterful as I can.
Hmm.
I my voice is sort of like I do like a oh hello everybody. It's sort of like oh mumsy and cute and a bit I age her a bit,
Mm.
just because I think in my mind I think a dame is a very wholesome, loving character that you want to go and give her a big warm hug.
Yeah.
So I play a very much like Mumsy like that, but a little bit kooky as well.
Mm.
A little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
kooky and caricature and a bit sort of the usual camp and a bit twee. I think I want people to go away and think they want it to be their friend.
Yeah, yeah,
Really.
and it's such an interesting character, isn't it? I think that's one of the reasons why dames have worked and pantos in general, because you can play it as you just said, the sort of the cutie, the fun sort of way, but at the same time, you can be that brash, horrible, but it's still a warmth to the audience. I sort
Exactly.
of I call the sort of Alan Carr, as I know I sound like him anyway, but I play that sort of way that she's just over the top, but she's fun, she's characterful, and I think how things have changed over time. It used to be it was just a guy getting on stage in a dress and that got the laughs.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily work nowadays. You've got to have that character, haven't you, with it?
Totally. Yeah, and I think that you've hit the nail on the head there. One of the most incredible things about Panto is you can go to lots of different ones, and everyone has their own styles. Everyone has their own preferences of the way they like Panto done. But I think it's really interesting because every interpretation is so different, and
Yeah,
that's a great thing that I think keeps Panto alive because you could go to a panto down the road, you go to a panto up north, anywhere, and it will be completely different interpretations of characters and scripts, um, and yeah, you find these things like you say that just work so well for you, and I think like you say, it can work as well being camp and characterful and fun, but also. I do think the main principle of Dame as well is you are a man in a dress,
yeah,
and that old principle still works as well today in a lot of ways as it did when Panto first started. So
yeah,
yeah, I think that's a
definitely.
really special thing about it.
Yeah, and that's what we love about it as well, because you can get
Totally.
so many different versions, which are correct. There's no wrong answer
No wrong
necessarily.
answers at all. Yeah, you're so
Um, it's brilliant. Jack, tell me what makes the best panto audience, because lots of people ask me, "Oh, was that a good audience tonight? Was that not?" And I'm always like, "So what makes the best panto audience for you?"
yeah. Do you know what? I think a lot of people in audiences for a lot of things, not just Panto, but comedy and stuff as well. I don't think a lot of people always realise that you generally get a better show the more you give, and I
Mm,
think if you go out and the audience are laughing or clapping and they're on side, it's not an intentional thing that performers do. It must just be a subconscious thing. But I think you get a better performance out of people on stage. Um, and it's very interesting. I don't know why that is. I think it's just like a mutual confidence together. Um, but I think you always know you've got a good audience when they're listening in the right places. I think you just feel do you know what I would say as well? Actually, is I think you've got a good audience when it feels almost like they're part of the show with you. So
mm,
they're listening, they're moving with you. It's almost like in some moments you forget they're there because you're moving together, and it's almost like it's being staged, and they're part of the show with you. Uh, but I just think, yeah, the main things in pantomime that you want is you want to hear them on side in all the moments that. But again, like I said, it goes back to them listening. And if you know they're listening, they're going to be there when you need them. They're going to be there when you want them, and they're going to be shouting out at the right moments, laughing at the right moments. They're coming on the journey with you, and
mm,
you want to feel by the end of the show that you've achieved something together, and you've got to the end of it, and they've helped you get there, and they've carried the story along as much as you have on the stage. And I
mm.
think that's such a magical thing about Panto that isn't as prevalent in a lot of other theatre forms, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Tell me and tell us. I already know the answer, so tell everyone else. What have you been doing as well recently? What have you literally just finished when we're recording this?
Yeah, so yesterday I finished. Well, I've been very fortunate. It's been 10 months of continuous work. So before I started Panto, I started rehearsals for Horrible Histories. I was doing the Terrible Tudors and Awful Egyptians 3D tour.
Mhm.
We toured that all around the country. The day after Panto, I started that. We toured that from January until July, and then I went straight into the West End and I learnt Balmy Britain, and I
Mhm.
was the swing in that, so I learnt all the roles. And yeah, we did that for 5 weeks at the Apollo in London, and then I finished that yesterday. So I'm ready for a bit of a rest now. I've been very, very lucky, and it's been an amazing year. We've had such a good time. Um, but I'm going on holiday now, which I can't wait for.
You know
Um,
what? I don't blame you when you've been working because you have to put Christmas also into this mix as well. Then,
Exactly, yeah,
you
exactly. And
know,
it is a lot of fun. People think, this is a really fun career, and I cannot complain at all. I'm
Mm.
so grateful. We get to do what we love. We get to entertain people. We get to tell stories. However, there does come a point where you think, oh, I just need a week or 2 weeks just to sort of refresh and recap before it starts again. And as we know, Christmas is no easy feat. It's one of the busiest times of the year. You're juggling trying to make Christmas special with your families and see people and spend time with people, but also you're trying to give the best performance you can
yeah,
because it's people's Christmases and you want them to have a really magical time.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
so yeah, I'm ready for a little bit of a rest, but very very grateful for a good year.
And again, do you use any of your things you've learned over the year from Panto in family theatre, like Horrible Histories, children's theatre? Does it all come back full circle? Really, is there elements all linking up?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think I've realized that more and more that I've done these sort of shows. I genuinely think that Panto is one of the best learning experiences for any performer.
Yeah,
People have their own opinions on Panto and what it is, but I think every performer at some point in their theatrical career should give Panto a go because I think it's such an eye-opening experience in terms of discipline, saving your voice, saving your energy. It's like people say it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I think that's so relevant to things like touring or doing a long run of a show. Um, Listening to your audience is so important in any form of panto or family theatre comedy. They are, like I've said before, they are part of the show with you. And if you're not listening to them, then you're not giving the best show you can because they are so important. And even with things like driving laughs and gags, you've got to have them on side. Um, but I do think a lot of it, especially in like the horrible history shows and Panto, a lot of it does come full circle back to the original vaudeville or music hall style of theatre. And I think a lot of the principles of it is also relevant and it all does tie in that there's so many moments that you think, oh, this is so similar and I can use those skills that I've learned from that to this and it all ties together. So I just think, yeah, I've learned so much from Panto that is relevant in everything that I've done. And I think everyone should give it a try.
yeah, I 100% agree. I always say to people, even if you are a Shakespearean actor, at least just do Panto once because you can learn so many. Even if it's the time thing of you, like we said earlier, you get a script a week beforehand,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
but you've got to go with it. It's such a learning curve. Right, this year on CUPPA Chat, completely changing the subject, we're doing a
Definitely.
this or that little game.
Oh, fun.
I know. So we want you to. You're going to be the first one, so I hope it works. All right.
Okay, let's give it. I'll try. I'll
Um,
try to do my best.
there's going to be 10 of them, and I need you to say which one as quick as you can, this or that. So the first
Okay.
one is ice cream or sweets in a
Ice
panto.
cream. Ice
Ice
cream.
cream, perfect. Flashing lights, would you buy, or a program?
A program.
Yeah, fair enough. Christmas Eve or Boxing Day shows?
Ooh. Christmas Eve. It's magical.
Oh,
The lead up. It's
magical.
magical.
I agree. Stage left, do you prefer, or stage right?
I think stage right. Stage right. I don't know why that was such a hard decision. Stage right. Let's go stage
That's
right.
what I enjoy. I was like, that's probably the easiest question, but Jack's really thinking about this one. Goodies or baddies?
Goodies all the
Yep,
way.
perfect. Which one's better, Act One or Act Two?
Ooh, I think I prefer Act One. I just think it's got more story and you meet everybody in Act One. It's all exciting, driving the plot a bit more. Whereas Act Two is a bit more silly and crazy. And I think, I don't know. Actually, no, I'll go Act One. Go with my gut.
Okay, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. A loud audience that won't shut up or a quiet audience that's listening?
Loud audience that won't shut up.
Yeah, fair
Let's
enough.
get them going. Let's get them riled up.
A 10 a.m. school show or 6 p.m. evening show?
6 p.m. evening show any day of the week because as we know, you've got to get in extra early to do your makeup and it's just an early start. And none of us signed up to do theatre for early starts.
No, no, and especially the dames, you say. We're always there before anyone else. But there we go.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee? This is an interesting one because you've tweaked today.
I'm going to say tea. It's got to be tea.
Yeah,
It's a
okay,
staple
fair
of
enough.
it's a staple of every day of my life. I can't
Yeah.
live without.
And then finally, Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty?
Cinderella, best panto ever. Best panto ever.
Yeah, everyone's going to say that one,
And
but
I've
there we
still never
go.
done it. It's on my
Have you
list. I've never
not?
done. No, I need to do it. I love it.
Oh, there we go. Now, actually, this is interesting because we have nearly come to the end of our cup of chat, which is really, really sad. And thank you so much for coming along
No,
because
thank you for having me.
I've just enjoyed having a chat with you, if anything else, and
Me
hopefully everyone
too.
else has been listening and enjoying as well. Tell me what the goal is of the future. I always like to ask this to people. What show do you want to do? I think we've kind of just said it, maybe. And if you had a magical wand, who would you want to be in that show with you? It can be someone who's no longer with us as well. We do allow that a little bit as well.
Ooh, that is
But tell
good.
us what your dream would be, and go on. You can even tell us where as well.
Oh wow. So I think outside of Panto, one of my dreams is to be in The Producers as a musical. I just think it's an amazing musical, and to do that with someone like Nathan Lane would
Mhm.
be incredible. In terms of Panto, like I say, I would absolutely love to do Cinderella. I think it's one of the best stories. It's got so much magic in it, and also as well, I think even like the Dames and the comic, they've got more of story based characters, and everyone feels like they're moving the story together. It's just such a nice piece. If I could have one person that I'd like to do Panto with, do you know what? I think I'd love to do Panto with Dawn French. I just think she'd be
Oh.
brilliant. I think if she was in Cinderella and she was like the fairy godmother,
Mhm.
I think she'd be hilarious. I think she'd be great in Panto. So maybe somebody like her, I think,
Yeah, I mean,
would be
she's done
really
a
cool.
couple obviously at the Palladium,
Yeah,
so
she's at the
she's.
Palladium, so if she could come and do Leicester with me, that would be fantastic.
And now, Jack, the question is though, would you play a sister in Cinderella, or would you want to be Buttons?
I think I'd like the challenge of playing a sister. It's a bit more of a it spices things up a little bit at Christmas, and I think I'd like the challenge of playing a bit of a baddie, but also a lovable baddie as well.
Yeah, yeah, because they are lovable now,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
And
So
you
there you
still get
go,
the
De
comedy, but
Montfort
it's a bit
Hall.
darker.
De Montfort Hall. You can hear
Yeah,
what you want now,
we'll stick at them up for Hall. We'll stick at them up for Hall.
and we can tell them now. We've sorted 2026 out. Stop whatever else you were planning. You're doing Cinderella now because Jack wants Cinderella.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. We've sent it on CUPPA CHAT, so it's happening now.
Oh, well, Jack, thank you so much for coming along today. Tell us one more time where you are this Christmas.
Yes, so I am at De Montfort Hall in Leicester, December till early Jan, and we are doing Dick Whittington. So come and see us.
And the tickets are now on sale, aren't they?
Tickets are on sale. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Unless
I'll
you're
share the link on
watching,
my Instagram.
yeah, we'll link it up for you as well. We'll put it on here. And unless you're watching this in 2028, then it's not on anymore. And Jack's probably done Cinderella by
Yeah.
now and he's doing something else. So there we go. Just before you go, because again, Leicester fan to Leicester fan, how do you think this season's going to go?
Well, to be honest, I was very, very nervous before the season started, and that second game when we lost, I thought, "Oh, here we go." But it's starting to look more promising, and I've got a bit of faith. I'm not sure if we're going to get automatic. I think we might make the playoffs, but I've got everything crossed. But I will happily take these challenging times just for the fact that we got that incredible season where we won the league. Oh my gosh, that's just as magical as Panto. So.
Mhm. I
If anyone
agree.
doesn't know the story of Leicester winning the league, go and search it because it's honestly, it feels like it's been made up, the story, because it's just so magical.
And then it's now made up of how it's gone the other way. But there we go.
Yes, yeah.
Who knew that we were going to end a cup of chat with talking about football? The one thing that never links Panto is football. But there we go. Jack, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it.
And don't forget, you can read more about Jack and his dad's work on the Panto archive under the Dames page. We'll leave a link down there as well. And we'll see you next time for some more cup of chat. Ta-da!